Chop Suey. I have no idea what it is. I think it was invented in the US by Chinese Americans, and the whole point of it is to sort of use a stir fry to get rid of your leftovers. We've got a few leftover ingredients, which is why bean sprouts is quite often in this dish, because it's quite easy to have leftover bean sprouts. We've got a bit of asparagus here. I'm very big on sort of using up all your extra ingredients in the fridge, as you probably know by now. So your asparagus, I'm just going to cut into nice sort of diagonal chunks. Great vegetable asparagus. And that's going to go onto my plate. I'm going to start up my wok clock of ingredients, and you see I've got sort of half a carrot here, so why not use it up? Again, nice diagonals of carrot. And actually, you wouldn't necessarily always do this, but I'm going to blanch my carrot and my bean sprouts in a little bit of chicken stock, just so they can get flash fried in much quicker later on. So my carrots, bean sprouts, and then we've got a few little shiitake mushrooms and some baby corn here as well. The baby corn, I don't mind actually just sort of cutting lengthways in half and then going into bite-sized pieces. Everything for a chop suey needs to be sort of sliced small enough to cook quickly and get ready for that sort of flash frying in the wok. They can go after my asparagus. I want them to keep a nice crunch. And then my fresh shiitake, I don't want to cut this. I'm going to go for chunkier pieces. Let's go for the nice thing about shiitake is this sort of meatiness of that texture of the mushroom. So I'm going to try and keep that texture in there. And they can go, I would say, just before your asparagus, because I want to flash fry them first so they get a nice sear. Keep all the moisture in the mushrooms. So my plethora of vegetables here, great looking plate for my stir fry. My carrots and my bean sprouts I'll blanch first and then bring them back into the wok. I've got my shiitake mushrooms, my asparagus, and some baby corn. All I have to do now is marinate my meat and get my sauce ready. So the meat, I've got some sliced chicken thigh here, and I'm just going to marinate it very simply with a bit of light soy sauce, sesame oil, and a bit of corn flour. Traditionally, you'd put the corn flour, mix it with a bit of water, and then pour it into the stir fry sauce. I'm not a big fan of pouring corn flour paste into the sauce, as you probably would have seen in other videos that I've done. The reason for that is I'd rather put it in the meat, sear the meat and cook the corn flour through, so it just sort of sips into the sauce and makes it a more silky finish. Chicken's marinated. So I'm just going to make up your sauce. I've got some oyster sauce as a base. That's where all the savoury flavour comes in. And just add a bit of saltiness with some light soy sauce to that. Rice wine, that's a Shaoxing rice wine. Gives it a sort of sweet and savoury aroma. Just give that a mix through. Make sure that oyster sauce mixes in well. And then just a little drizzle of sesame oil to finish. I've actually got some chicken stock that I'm going to use to blanch the vegetables, and then if I need to just add a bit of liquid as I'm cooking, I'll use that too. On to the cooking. First things first, I'm going to get some chicken stock into my wok, and I'm going to use that to blanch my veg. So my stock is boiling away. Get the carrots in there first. They don't take long because I'm going to bring them back into the stir fry later. And this is how to perfect your chop suey if you're using things like carrots and bean sprouts. You don't have to do it this way, but it will make it that little bit better. So it takes about a minute to blanch the carrots. So they've had an initial cook through. Just keep that stock boiling whilst I need to blanch my bean sprouts. Bean sprouts in. Bean sprouts don't take long to cook at all, so literally 20 to 30 seconds in this stock, and then we'll carry on with the stir fry. So we're going to pour that stock out. Everything else is set up here. My wok clock's ready. My steamed or my blanched veg are good to go. So I'm going to start with my mushroom. I want your mushroom to be on a really high heat, so you want to make sure that your wok is smoking hot. Just give that a little stir around. Mushrooms in. Mushrooms really you need to sear like this on a really high heat to keep their moisture inside. Fold that through a little, let that soak up that sort of hot oil, and then if you need a little bit of water to cook them through, you can use the stock for that. It will steam them through very quickly. Next up, my asparagus. I don't have a huge amount, so I'm going to put the baby corn in as well. And keep that stir fry going. And again, you can use the stock as you go for this. So a quick sear and a little spoon of stock to speed up that stir fry process. So I'm kind of layering my stir fry to get it to that perfect point where I've cooked out the rawness of the veg but kept the crunch. And again, because I've got quite a lot of veg going into this, I'm going to bring this veg out, sear my chicken, and then start to bring everything back in together. So this veg is still keeping its shape nicely. Bring that out, make space for your chicken, and then the rest is just the sauce and bringing the veg back in. Remember that chicken's got the corn flour in it, so you want to sear it nicely and get a sort of good browning on one side first before you then turn it and sear the other side. Give that a turn and sear the other side. Just keep going like this for about a minute or two until your meat starts to separate out. I don't mind if there's a little bit of sort of stickiness from the corn flour and the base there, because when I pour the liquid, that sauce, into the stir fry, it's going to lift it all off. So long as it's not burning, you're okay. It's starting to get a good bit of colour on the meat now. So I'm going to bring my veg back in, and you can see that I'm constantly moving my ingredients around. It's what we call wok hay, understanding the height of your fire. So you're either stirring, pushing and folding, giving it a wok toss, or a tummy in the head, which is round and round with your spoon, back and forwards with your wok. Constantly hearing that sizzling sound. Never lose your sizzle, guys. Your sauce is going to go in, and then your last two veg. So your sauce in, really high heat. My carrots, my blanched bean sprouts, one last sort of half ladle of stock around the edge like that. Oh, you can hear that now. And then let that bubble up first for a second before I start to flick that through again. Now all that flavour is going to come off the bottom of that wok. And because of my corn flour around the chicken, it's kind of silked the sauce. High heat, 2 or 3 flicks through, and that's done. The bean sprouts should be still nice and crunchy, and those fresh shiitake, fantastic in there. Nice and colourful, chop suey. So what I would be looking for a chop suey or any sort of stir fry is that the vegetables still have a crunch and you've got sort of the meatiness of the mushrooms. Great sort of home dish. Just with a bowl of steamed rice on the side. It's a perfect midweek dinner.